Now that we have our spaceship shooting lasers, we need some enemies on the screen. We're going to start by creating asteroids. These asteroids are going to start from above the screen and fall towards the player at somewhat random speeds and angles. We're going to have two separate asteroid images so that we get a mixture of large and small asteroids. Again, I'm just using some basic designs, but you're welcome to look to open game art for something that looks better or to do something yourself. Let's take a look at the asteroid module. As always, it starts with importing other modules. We have added the random module because we're going to want the asteroid to have some randomized behaviors. Following the pattern of the spaceship module, we're going to load the images next. In this case, the code is done slightly differently. We're putting the asteroid images into a list so that the computer can randomly choose one when it spawns a new asteroid. If you had additional asteroid images, you would put the images in the IMG folder and include the file name in the asteroid list. Then it will automatically load them. Next, we have the Asteroid Sprite class. As always, we need to have an initialization method and an update method. For the initialization, we start with the standard sprite initialization, followed by setting up the graphics. Here is where we've used the random module to choose one of the images at random. We actually want to store the original asteroid image inside the sprite to avoid some memory issues down the line. Then we set up the position of the asteroid. All of the asteroids are going to start off 20 pixels off the top of the screen. This gives a slight pause before they show up, and makes them feel as though they're arriving in a slightly more natural frequency. The horizontal position is going to be random across the whole width of the game field. The randint command from the random module picks a random integer between the two given values. Then we're going to define the attributes. Because we're interested in having the asteroids rotate as they fall, we're going to need to keep track of the angle. We're also going to need to calculate a fixed random speed for the rotation. This formula looks complicated, but it's actually just picking a random plus or minus sign and multiplying that by a random number from 1 to 5. Then we pick a random horizontal speed between -10 and 10, and lastly, a random vertical speed between 10 and 15. With all of these randomized values, the asteroids will not show any patterns, and will have a slightly chaotic feel that you might expect when flying through an asteroid field. The update method has some familiar features. For example, we have to calculate the new position of the asteroid, and we have to kill the asteroid if it goes off the game screen. But the rotation comes with a few extra steps. The first one is that we have to continuously update the rotation angle. Since these asteroids are falling through space, the rotation speed is just a constant, and that was randomly calculated in the initialization. One of the challenges of rotations is that the rectangle for the image may change depending on the rotation angle. Another is that the position of the rectangle is defined by its top left corner. And so as we rotate the asteroid, we get a continuously changing rectangle with the top left corner fixed, and that creates a very unnatural rotation. To get around this, we need to provide some extra code to get the rotation to happen around the center of the asteroid. And that's what these commands do. We first take note of where the center of the old rectangle is, then we update the image, then we get the rectangle for the newly rotated asteroid, and we align the two centers. All of this will make the rotation feel much more natural. In the main game loop, we're going to need to import the Asteroid class and create an additional sprite group for the asteroids. We'll also create a variable that will keep track of the maximum number of asteroids, and as the player gets further along in the game, we'll increase this value to make things more difficult. In the update phase of the game loop, we're going to add some commands that will respawn asteroids as needed to keep the number of asteroids constant. This will keep us in a state of constant threat from new asteroids. Notice that we put the asteroids into both the asteroids group as well as the all sprites group. If we run the game like this, there will be a couple problems that we'll see. The first is that we can watch the asteroids fall off the side of the screen and leave a trail. This is because Pygame doesn't wipe the screen, and those sprites continue to exist until they hit the kill plane. We haven't seen this so far because the background has overwritten the game screen, and nothing we've done has left the sides of the game screen until now. We can fix that by an additional drawing command that will draw a black box over the information area of the screen. This comes after the sprites are drawn so that we can cover those sprites. Right now, this command does nothing more than draw a black box, but later on, we'll use this area to display the player score, remaining lives, and other information. The second obvious problem is that none of the sprites interact with each other. The lasers don't hit the asteroids, and the asteroids don't hit the spaceship. In the next video, we'll see how to deal with this.